Jay-Z breaks down after Rymir's court fight takes a crazy new turn. Jay-Z's legacy has always been a tightly controlled masterpiece. He's the guy who climbed from the Marcy Projects to the pinnacle of music, fashion, business, and culture. Billionaire, Beyoncé's husband, the blueprint for how to flip hustle into empire. But lately, that empire has started showing cracks, and it's not because of music beefs or failed business ventures. It's something far messier. A long-running paternity case that refuses to disappear. And the man at the center of it, Rymir Satterthwaite, isn't backing down. Rymir's story isn't new, but it's evolved into something Jay-Z can't brush off anymore. For years, Rymir has claimed he's the unacknowledged son of Sean Carter, the result of a relationship Jay allegedly had with Rymir's mother, Wanda, when she was still in high school. That timeline alone has made things dicey. If it's true, it raises serious questions, not just about fatherhood, but about legality. And Jay-Z, despite his silence, seems to know it. What makes this moment different from the years of rumors is how public and legal it's all become. Rymir filed a lawsuit, went on record, even posted updates directly to social media. He's not asking for money, he says he's just asking for the truth, for a DNA test. But according to Rymir, every time he's gotten close to real answers, Jay-Z's legal team has either ignored, delayed, or attempted to silence him. In a recent twist, Rymir filed paperwork to withdraw his lawsuit. On the surface, it looked like he gave up, but almost immediately after, he posted a video saying the fight was far from over. According to him, he stepped back not because he lost, but because he had to play chess, not checkers. He didn't deny he withdrew the case, but he made it clear this was a strategic pause, not a surrender. Why would someone back off a federal case if they claim they have the truth on their side? That's where it gets murky. Rymir says he's been threatened. He says people connected to Jay-Z made dangerous calls, sent intimidating messages, even warned him he'd end up in his car. That kind of pressure would make anyone take a step back. If even part of that is true, this case isn't just about fatherhood, it's about power, fear, and survival. But Jay-Z's side isn't staying quiet either, not legally at least. His attorneys have called the lawsuit frivolous, claiming it's part of a long pattern of harassment dating back to Rymir's mother. They argue that Jay-Z was never properly served in the federal suit and didn't even know it existed until a month after it was filed. On top of that, they're asking the court to make Rymir pay legal fees, saying he's wasted time and resources just to chase clout through interviews and social media. Still, even that aggressive legal response doesn't explain why there hasn't been a simple DNA test. Rymir says he's been ready for it. He says he's not afraid of the truth, even if it proves Jay-Z isn't his father. But he wants it done through the proper channels, so no one can say it was manipulated or faked. His whole argument is built around transparency, fairness, and the right to know where you come from. Jay-Z's silence, in contrast, speaks volumes. In an era where perception is everything, that silence isn't being read as strength anymore. It's starting to look like avoidance. And when a man known for being in control starts reacting instead of leading, people notice, especially when the story shifts from rumor to real legal pressure. Inside courtrooms and across media outlets, the tone surrounding Jay-Z has taken a sharp turn. The once unshakable mogul, known for controlling his narrative with precision, now finds himself boxed into a corner. And it's not just Rymir pushing back, it's the mounting pressure from a culture that's no longer satisfied with silence from the powerful, especially when that silence starts looking like guilt. When Jay-Z's legal team called Rymir's lawsuit a publicity stunt, they weren't just trying to dismiss it, they were trying to bury it. They painted Rymir as manipulative, inconsistent, and eager for attention, but that strategy may be backfiring. Rymir doesn't come across as a scammer chasing money, he comes across as a man who's tired. Tired of being ignored, tired of being painted as a nuisance, and tired of living with a question that could be answered with a simple test. In a video shared online, Rymir looked directly into the camera and said he never received a DNA test, never took hush money, and never intended to stop fighting. He wasn't angry, just exhausted. He talked about being raised without answers, about how his mother before she died repeatedly told him Jay-Z was his father, and he swore that this was never about fame or cash. It was about dignity, about wanting to stand in the mirror and know who he came from. That kind of raw honesty struck a nerve. Fans, who once dismissed him as a clout chaser, started listening, and critics began to question why Jay-Z, who has the means to silence any lie, hasn't taken the one step that would shut this down completely. If the DNA test proves Rymir wrong, that's the end of it. So why dodge it? Behind the scenes, it's clear this case is more than just a legal headache. Jay-Z's entire brand, his billion-dollar business ventures, his Rock Nation empire, his influence across entertainment and politics is built on image. He's not just another rapper, he's an institution, and institutions protect themselves at all costs. But protecting the brand might be costing him something bigger: trust. Social media has been relentless. Comments under every post about the situation are filled with questions, theories, and demands for accountability. Memes have started circulating. Fans are quoting Rymir directly, praising his composure and calling out Jay-Z's silence. The shift in public sentiment is real and it's loud. The uncomfortable part is that this isn't just about paternity. The story carries an implication that makes people recoil. If Rymir's mother really was underage at the time of her alleged relationship with Jay-Z, then we're no longer talking about a secret child, we're talking about a potentially criminal situation. That's a layer of this case that no amount of PR spin can clean up. It's the part no one wants to say out loud, but it's there. And people are talking. Jay-Z's longtime business partners, his A-list peers, even fans who once idolized him. There's a tension now, a sense that maybe this isn't just some nuisance lawsuit. Maybe there's something here that's been buried for too long. And then there's Beyoncé. Her silence has also been noted. She's always been fiercely private, but the fact that neither she nor anyone in her camp has said a word is only making the whispers louder. What does she know? What does she think? Fans are speculating, and speculation, left unchecked, becomes narrative. Once that takes hold, it doesn't matter what the truth is, it matters what people believe. The spotlight has turned into a magnifying glass, and Jay-Z's every move is under scrutiny. What started as a quiet legal matter has morphed into a cultural flashpoint. Everywhere you look, YouTube panels, podcasts, Twitter threads, people are dissecting the same question. If this isn't true, why avoid proving it? The longer the silence continues, the more damaging it becomes. Rymir, on the other hand, hasn't wavered. He's kept showing up, telling his story, and answering questions most people would shy away from. He's admitted the pain, the embarrassment, and the toll it's taken on him. But he's also made it clear he's not going away. He's not out to destroy anyone. He just wants clarity, a definitive answer to a question he's been carrying for decades. The man's not stupid. He knows going up against someone with Jay-Z's money, power, and reach is like walking into a storm with no umbrella. But he's doing it anyway, because this isn't about fame for him. It's about identity. It's about not wanting to die with a question mark hanging over his name. That raw vulnerability is what's made people rally behind him. In a time when celebrity culture is being pulled apart and reevaluated, Rymir's story feels familiar to too many people. How many folks grow up without a dad, wondering why? How many people feel like their truth is ignored because they don't have power or a platform? His story may be unique in its details, but it taps into a universal wound. Jay-Z's team keeps insisting that this is all nonsense, that it's been handled, dismissed, and disproven already, but courts keep allowing the door to stay open. Documents keep surfacing, and now, even though Rymir temporarily withdrew one case, there's talk of it being refiled or another one taking its place. That's why this isn't over, not by a long shot. If anything, it's accelerating. The cultural tide has turned, and people aren't letting things slide like they used to. In this climate, silence looks more like guilt than grace. And that leads to the million-dollar question: what happens if a DNA test does happen? If Jay-Z takes it and proves he's not the father, everything ends. But if it proves he is, the fallout would be massive. His image would take a hit that no amount of PR cleanup could fix. Every brand deal, every carefully crafted narrative about his rise to greatness suddenly questioned. It wouldn't just be personal, it would be political, cultural, generational. Because Jay-Z isn't just a man, he's a symbol, a black billionaire who beat the odds, a mogul who rewrote the rules. If it turns out he spent decades running from his own son and possibly used power to silence the truth, it shifts how we see him, not just as a person, but as a leader. And let's not ignore the generational impact. Rymir has children of his own. If Jay-Z is his father, that makes Jay-Z a grandfather who's never made a call, sent a message, or asked a single question. That legacy of silence stretches beyond just two men. It touches families, generations, and the very idea of what it means to be accountable. The world is watching, and this time, people are asking harder questions, not just about Jay-Z, but about power, image, and the cost of hiding the truth. No matter how rich or famous you are, some things catch up to you, and when they do, not even $1 billion can keep the truth from kicking in the front door.